Hey, beautiful friend, it's Marnie. I'm so glad you're here. And if this is your first time here, welcome to the Life is Delicious family, where we explore simple recipes for living a vibrant, healthy, and joyful life. Today, we're diving into a topic that has the power to completely shift how you show up in your everyday life, how you speak to yourself, and how you communicate your value to the world. Today, we're talking about boundaries, specifically the power of saying no, the trap of I can't, and two other little words that just might change your life. Welcome to this episode of Life is Delicious. Do you ever feel like midlife has you running on an endless hamster wheel of responsibilities while your own dreams just gather dust? Is the crazy chaos of caring for everyone else leaving you exhausted and overwhelmed? And is the hormonal hurricane of menopause threatening to derail your sanity? Are you in desperate need of some self-care, balance, and reconnection with your truest self? If so, then I'm so glad you're here. This podcast isn't about surviving midlife. It's about crafting a next chapter overflowing with purpose, joy, and delicious possibilities. I'm Marnie Martin, a multi-passionate entrepreneur, daughter, and a hot midlife mama, literally. And over the last decade, I've been through career pivots, a divorce, and a survived the empty nest only to have it fill up again. I spent the next several years traveling miles and miles every month to care for my elderly parents. And my time and attention was so torn in every direction that I lost track of who I was, and I found myself in an endless cycle of people-pleasing, putting out fires, and frankly, running on empty. I know how it feels to be stuck in chronic overwhelm, stress, and chaos. And trust me, it's not a pretty picture. I decided that it was time to take my own life and health back. I worked hard to reclaim my health through radical self-care practices, recalibrating my nervous system, and setting healthy boundaries that allowed me to start living my life on purpose again. I'm here to show you that midlife doesn't have to be a crisis, but instead a beautiful invitation to prioritize yourself again. If you're ready to take back your joie de vivre, then pop in those earbuds and let's go get it. Today we're diving into something that many of us have struggled with, especially as women, daughters, mothers, partners, caregivers, and community builders. We're talking about the power of saying no. It sounds simple, right? Just two little letters, N-O. But for so many of us, saying no feels wrong, feels heavy, maybe even selfish. In fact, most of the time, it does feel selfish. But what if I told you that saying no might just be the most loving, powerful, life-giving word in your vocabulary? And that every time you say no to something that drains you, you're saying yes to something that fuels you, your health, your joy, and your dreams. Let's start with the hard truth. Many of us are programmed to please, to avoid conflict, to put other people first. And while kindness is a beautiful value, chronic people-pleasing comes at a very expensive cost. According to Dr. Vanessa Bonds, a social psychologist at Cornell University, people vastly underestimate how uncomfortable others feel when asking for favors. In other words, we often say yes because we don't want to make someone else feel bad, when they probably expect or respect a boundary more than we think. We fear being seen as difficult or unkind, but in reality, saying yes when we mean no often leads to stress, resentment, and burnout. So ask yourself, where are you giving away your time, energy, and power because you're afraid to say no? Let's be honest, every yes has a cost. And when you say yes to things that don't align with your values or your well-being, you're saying no to joy, rest, creativity, self-respect, time with your loved ones, maybe even your health. And over time, this pattern leads to a life that feels disconnected from you. You're checking all the boxes for everybody else, but inside you're tired, irritable, maybe even a little bit lost, because resentment is a very heavy emotion. And this can actually be something that we deal with a lot in midlife, especially when so many of us are in what we call like the sandwich generation. And if you're not familiar with the sandwich generation, it's being in a place where you have grown children or maybe even kids that are getting prepared to leave the empty nest. And you probably still have your parents alive, so you've got their well-being and aging concerns to deal with. And some of you even have the added stress of grandkids, which is not a stress, but of course it adds another level of people that you need to care about and where you need to put your time. And it's just a lot sometimes. And if we're not careful, our needs can vanish under a pile of everyone else's expectations. But you're not here to be everyone's everything. You're here to live a full, deep, intentional life and to be of value to the people that you love. But you're less likely to be the best version of yourself if you give yourself away too often. But here's the good news. Saying no is a skill. And like any skill, we can learn it and strengthen it. It's like a practice. So let's break this down. I mean, sometimes when we get caught off guard by a request, we freeze and we don't have a response. So I think what might be a really good strategy would be to create some kind of a script, a no script. And maybe you have a couple of different ones. Maybe you try, "Thanks so much for thinking of me, but I'm just not able to take that on right now." Or, "I'm honored you asked, but I'm keeping my calendar lighter these days to prioritize my health." What about, "That sounds like a great opportunity, but it's just not a fit for me right now, but thank you for asking." And practice saying it out loud. You don't owe anyone an essay, just short and sweet is kind and to the point. And that way, you put yourself and your priorities first. And sometimes it's hard to actually do that without taking a little bit of a pause. So if you just don't have that script on hand and someone asks you to do something that you just don't feel is aligned with where you are or what you need at the moment, then ask them to give you a little bit of time. "Let me get back to you on that. Let me check my schedule." Or maybe you just say, "I'll sleep on it and I will get back to you." And that just gives you a minute to actually sit with the request and see if it is a fit for you. And maybe you do want to do it, but maybe you just feel like you don't have enough time. So that'll give you the opportunity to check in with yourself and decide for you if it's the right thing. This is a really fun little game you can play with yourself. Just go get yourself a sticky note and just put on it, "Every no to someone else is a yes to myself." And put it on your mirror in your bathroom and read it and look at it and build it into your day. And start becoming comfortable and not apologetic for prioritizing your own well-being. Because the more you practice, the more natural it'll feel. Okay, now let's look at 2 other phrases that will really impact the way we live our life. Let's start with this familiar phrase, "I can't." I can't work out. I'm too tired. I can't change careers now. It's too late. I can't say no. They need me. I can't leave. It would hurt them. I can't take time for myself because everyone else comes first. Sound familiar? The words "I can't" might seem like an honest expression of a limitation, but more often than not, it's a mask for fear, guilt, or conditioning. And when we repeat it often enough, it becomes a kind of internalized victim script, one where life happens to us instead of for us. Dr. Martin Seligman, often called the father of positive psychology, studied a concept called learned helplessness, where people, after repeated experiences of feeling powerless, stop trying to even change their circumstances, even when escape or success is possible. Sounds a little like "I can't." It's the language of resignation, of shrinking, of surrendering our agency. And over time, this kind of thinking can actually change the brain. Neuroscience shows that when we frequently think in defeatist ways, we reinforce neural pathways that support that pattern. But here's the good news. We can rewire them. 99% of the time, the words "I can't" are not about ability. It's more about permission. So what happens when we reframe the words "I can't" to using the words "I don't"? Let's look at the difference. I can't eat sugar versus I don't eat sugar. The first suggestion implies restriction. The second implies choice, clarity, and ownership. I can't go out tonight versus I don't go out during the week. One sounds like you're trapped, and the other sounds like you have a boundary. Our words matter. I don't reflects values and intentional living, and it communicates self-respect. And it also teaches other people how to treat you. So how do we move from I can't to I don't in real life? Here's a few tangible tips. Number 1, catch yourself doing it. Start noticing every time you say the words I can't. Pause and ask yourself, is this really a limitation, or is this just a belief or a habit? Am I protecting someone else's comfort instead of my own growth or my own happiness? That's a pretty important question to ask. Number 2, rewrite it. Try this simple journal exercise. It's super powerful. Just draw a line right down the middle of the page, and on the left, at the top, write I can't. And then list all of your I can't statements. And there's a lot of them. I know I've practiced this, and they're kind of sneaky. And then on the right, reframe them into I don't statements. And watch how your brain shifts. On the right-hand column, you have the power to choose. The left-hand column, not so much. Number 3, use the words I don't as a boundary tool. If you struggle with people-pleasing, this is a game changer. Saying I don't check email after 6 p.m., or I don't take on last-minute favors, or I don't drink during the week. It sets a clear expectation and helps you make decisions ahead of time so you don't have to struggle with them in the moment. Number 4, anchor it to your values. Instead of focusing on what you're giving up, focus on what you're creating. I don't drink during the week because I value clear-headed mornings. I don't gossip anymore because I value kindness and I hate it when people do it to me. This kind of language tells your brain and other people that you choose your reactions from a place of strength and that you are in the driver's seat of your own life. So this week, let's do one quick practice. Just choose one I can't that you've been carrying around and rewrite it as I don't. Say it out loud. Write it on a sticky note. Put it on your bathroom mirror or actually on your phone home screen. Let it remind you that you are not a victim of your life, but instead, you are the author of it. Our words are powerful, so let's choose words that uplift us, that align with our values, that reinforce our freedom to create boundaries, chase dreams, and live our life on purpose. I hope you loved today's episode. I hope it inspired you or motivated you in some way to keep going and create your very best life. If you did, would you stop and take 5 minutes to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts? It's the best way for me to know that you're enjoying the show, and it helps other listeners find us as well. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so that when new episodes drop, they'll be queued up and ready for you. And if no one has told you today, there's not one person on this planet that is exactly like you. And the world is a better place because you're here. So thank you for being here. I'll be back next week, and I hope you'll join me right here on Life is Delicious.